All right, here's a wild thought for you. What if your entire life, I'm talking from birth all the way to old age, what if it all plays out in the span of just one single day? Today, we're going to dive into this really ancient way of looking at time. And it's not a straight line, no. It's a living, breathing cycle that repeats itself every single day. I mean, you know that feeling, right? Where one day just zips by in a flash, and then another week feels like it's dragging on forever? Well, it turns out the ancient Vedic tradition has this absolutely fascinating explanation for why our experience of time is so bendy. So this whole idea, it all revolves around one incredibly powerful concept, Kāla. And you gotta forget the idea of a clock just ticking on the wall. Kāla is something else entirely. It's described as a living, breathing force, so immense, so powerful, that it's said even the gods are governed by it. It's basically the energy that creates, sustains, and then, recycles everything in the entire universe. Okay, so this is where it gets really, really cool. The main idea here, the absolute core of it, is that you can literally see an entire human lifetime mirrored in the span of a single day. Seriously, let's break down how this incredible pattern actually works. All right, so this whole 24-hour cycle has a name. It's called an ahoratra, but it's so much more than just a way to measure time. Think of it like a miniature life story packed into one day. It has a clear beginning, a middle, and an end. It's a cycle of creation, then keeping things going, and finally dissolution, which really just means transformation, getting ready for the next cycle to begin. And look at this. It lays out the pattern so perfectly. You've got sunrise, which is just like our birth and childhood, that whole period of waking up to the world, all about new beginnings. Then comes midday, right? The sun's at its peak, and that represents our youth and adulthood when we have the most energy, the most responsibility. And finally, you have sunset. That's our later years, a time for reflection, for pulling back a bit, for rest, all to make space for the next sunrise, the next new beginning. It's a perfect mirror. So, what's actually driving all this? What's the engine behind these daily cycles and our life cycles? Well, it's not just about where the sun is in the sky. According to Vedic thought, there are these three fundamental cosmic rhythms or forces that are always at play. First up, you have Brahma, the creator. This is the energy of beginnings, plain and simple. Think of it as that creative spark that kicks off a new day at sunrise, or, the energy that brings a new life into the world. It's all about starting things, all about that fresh potential. Then you've got Vishnu, the sustainer. This is the energy that keeps everything humming along. It's the force of maintenance, of preservation. It's most powerful right in the middle of the day, when we're at our most active, busy with work, sustaining our lives, taking care of our families. And finally, there's Rudra, who's a form of Shiva, the transformer. Now, don't think of this as destruction in a bad way. It's not about that at all. It's about dissolution and change. It's the force that lets things end, lets everything wind down at sunset so we can rest, and a whole new cycle can kick off again. And look at this. You can see just how perfectly all these ideas snap together. The creative energy of Brahma, that lines up perfectly with sunrise and birth. The sustaining force of Vishnu, that's midday and our most active years. And the transformative power of Rudra, that's sunset and that reflective time of old age. It's just one beautiful, elegant pattern, repeating itself on the scale of a day and on the scale of a lifetime. But hold on, because this framework goes even deeper. It suggests that we're not just living in one kind of time. No, it says we're actually experiencing three different kinds of time, all at the same time. So on the one hand, you've got what's called linear time. This is linked to Brahma, the creator. The water bottle's a perfect example. It gets made, you use it, you get rid of it. It's a straight line, from a beginning to an end. But then you've got cyclical time, and this is linked to Vishnu. This is the time of the mind. It's our experiences, our memories, the seasons that come back again and again. It's the rhythm of our life. And then there's a third kind of time, and this one is way more profound. It's linked to Shiva, or Rudra. It's called absolute time. To get a feel for it, just imagine that complete stillness you might find in deep meditation, or that moment in a deep, dreamless sleep where you have zero awareness of past or future. It's that state of just being, where the forward march of linear time and the spinning wheels of cyclical time, they just seem to dissolve. It's like the unchanging canvas that everything else is painted on. This model also explains something that I think we all kind of feel deep down, that time is relative, right? A year for you isn't necessarily a year for someone or something else. And the Vedic texts, well, they take this idea and blow it up to a cosmic scale. Okay, so let's start with our baseline. 1 human year. Pretty straightforward. We all know what that feels like. But on this cosmic scale, get this. Our entire year is experienced as just one day for the celestial beings known as devas. Just let that sink in for a second. It means our whole perception of time is completely tied to our state of being. A whole human life is basically just a blip on a much, much, much bigger cosmic calendar. So, what's the big takeaway here? I mean, these are some huge, profound ideas. How do we bring them down to earth and connect them to our actual daily lives? Let's tie it all together. All right, so let's do a quick recap. First, the Vedic view sees time not as a boring straight line, but as a living, powerful cycle. Second, every single day is like a perfect mini version of our entire lifetime. Third, we're all swimming in 3 kinds of time at once: linear, cyclical, and absolute. And finally, how we experience all of this is totally relative. And that really leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to think about. If today isn't just another box to check off on a calendar, if it's a full cycle of life in miniature, what does that change? If a mistake or a failure isn't some permanent dead end, but it's just the sunset before a brand new dawn, what do you do differently with the time you have right here, right now?